now.
Right 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 now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
And we are live. Welcome to another daily writing session where today I'm going to show you how I am going about my third draft of The Last Scarecrow. This is a live reading combined with a line edit. A live line edit. I'll show you my process. Feel free to kick back, relax, listen along, or if you're live, come work with me and see what we can get accomplished today. So we're going to see just what we can get into. And by the way, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kaufman, daily writing streamer, 740 consecutive days and counting, and many, many more to come. We're going to see just what we can accomplish right now. All right, so let's get into it. So as you can see, I have my writing software all set, ready to get in the vibe. I'm going to push through a whole chapter. Hey, what's up, Ilsa? Welcome, my friend over from Twitch. Hope all is treating you well. Hopefully the vibe is treating you well today, my friend. All right, so we're going to see just what we can accomplish. As you can see, I got this all set up. And I would say the last couple of days I haven't been too productive. So I got to get through a whole chapter today. So we got to push. All right, so we're going to see just what we can do and see if I can push through a whole chapter today. I just got to keep going and do what I do. No lollygagging today. All right, so Scarecrow and his friends have been, Scarecrow has been captured. His friends are trying to find him. So we have Scarecrow, and this is a setup for this next major area of this part of the novel that we have been alluding to for some chapters. Chapter 23, Coliseum of the Last. I think that sounds better. The Coliseum of the Last. The Coliseum of the Last. Coliseum of the Last. Scarecrow bashed his head against a rock as a burning pain coursed through his arms, legs, and chest like a maddening death grip. Time lost all meaning. Like a maddening inferno. Scarecrow bashed his head against a rock as a burning pain coursed through his arms, legs, and chest like a maddening inferno. Fire. As a burning pain coursed through his arms, legs, and chest like a maddening inferno. He was on fire. Was he on fire without? I kind of want to add to this description. On fire without burning alive. On fire without burning alive. Time lost all meaning. When it ceased, he rolled onto his back. Let's actually make this an ellipses. When it ceased, he rolled onto his back, tapping the smooth obsidian plate of the collar around his neck. Nothing happened. He breathed a sigh of relief as Gore's paw, blurry at first, helped return him to his feet. Keep moving, the grizzly grumbled. Scarecrow nodded weakly. His vision was still blurry as he rubbed his eyes. He watched the primates adorned in their colored medals and waist sashes march by on either side of them. One in particular, with a patch of triangular white fur around one eye, wore a familiar torn knee-length coat. A hoot rang out near the front of the line, and the procession carried on. Sighing, Scarecrow forced himself to keep moving. He didn't have the energy to do anything else. A breeze swept across the cool night air. He shivered again. Was taking his coat truly necessary? At least he didn't care about his hat. He looked around, pulling it tighter about his head. Yet. Ahead of them, 3 primates poked at an oddly striped collared zebra. They hooted at the animal mockingly, but the zebra strode forward. But the animal strode forward in silence. One of the primates glared back, causing Scarecrow to look away. One of the primates glared back down the line, causing Scarecrow to look away. The distant moon taunted him with its freedom amidst a cloudless, starry night sky. Behind them, the canyon sloped down from where they had traveled. The distant moon taunted him with its freedom amidst a cloudless, starry night sky. Behind them, the canyon sloped down from where they had traveled. Ridges towered high in all directions, trapping them within the massive, barren wasteland. Large boulders rose up on one side, while cracked earth marked the other. How was he already a prisoner again? Scarecrow could already hear Pebble's words in his mind. Told you so, Strawbrain. I'd be careful if I were you, Straw Brother, Gore whispered. Those keys, let's go, Gore cautioned. I'd be careful if I were you, Straw Brother, Gore cautioned. Those keys will do more harm if they sense weakness. Those keys do harm. Those keys do harm if they sense weakness. When they sense weakness. I'd be careful. Straw Brother, Gore cautioned. Those keys do harm when they sense weakness. Those keys do harm when they sense weakness. Keys? The grizzly nodded as he reached for his collar and huffed. That's what the monkeys call themselves. Oh, like monkeys, Scarecrow added with a shake of his head. Why not just... He trailed off. Gore was already pawing in the air as if he were painting on an invisible canvas. Again. As if he were drawing on an invisible canvas. Again. Scarecrow eyed his furry friend inquisitively. Even though they'd been walking for hours, or maybe days, hard to tell. Gore seemed to always be mapping out something. Gore seemed to always be mapping out something that didn't exist. All the while muttering. Seemed to always be mapping out something in his mind. Scarecrow leaned in. What more can they do? Use me for kindling? What more can they do? Use me for kindling? Kindling is the least of our worries, comrade. With the pointed paw ahead, Gore continued. I've been pontificating. Scarecrow, answer this. Gore continued. I've been pontificating. Scarecrow, answer this. The grizzly looked to him, hazel eyes sparkling in the moonlight with perplexed curiosity. With a pointed paw ahead, Gore continued. I've been pontificating, Scarecrow. Answer this. The grizzly looked at him, hazel eyes sparkling in the moonlight with perplexed curiosity. Who do you see around us? Animals? Truth. What type? Scarecrow rose onto his tiptoes. A white and black bear near the front? The panda. Scarecrow nodded. Somehow he should have known that. He remembered more with each step, yet that somehow didn't. Who else? He remembered more with each step, yet that never felt like enough to fill the gaps. He remembered more with each step, yet that never felt like enough to fill the gaps in his mind. Who else? He scanned the line of prisoners in either direction, picking ones out randomly. He scanned the line of prisoners in both directions, picking them out at random. A turtle the size of us, A golden spotted jaguar with eyes of fire. A long-necked. He shuddered at the thought of such a tall animal's rage. He shuddered at let's see. He scanned the line of prisoners in both directions, picking them out at random. A turtle the size of us. A golden spotted jaguar with eyes of fire. A long-necked. He paused. He said, pausing. Well, squinting. He said, pausing while squinting at the darkly spotted creature. He said, pausing while squinting at the darkly spotted creature, thin, but thrice their size. He said, pausing while squinting at the darkly spotted creature, with the thin frame, but twice their height. A turtle the size of us, a golden spotted jaguar with eyes of fire, a long-necked, he said, pausing while squinting at the darkly spotted creature with the thin frame but twice their height. Giraffe, he snapped, proud of himself, proud of his recollection. They were met with the snore of a wide-eyed raccoon, coated in brown and white furry rings, who growled back angrily. They were met with the snort of a wide-eyed raccoon, coated in brown and white furry rings, who growled back angrily. Two primates looked in their direction, stomping the ground with their fists in response. Stomping the ground. Two primates looked in their direction, stomping the ground with their fists. Scarecrow averted his eyes, expecting the worst, and shuffled along silently. Hey, what's up, guys? I saw a couple of you hop in. Hope Writing Vibes treating all y'all well today, my friends. White Seer, that is excellent news. You just got your final beta read in. That is so exciting. Hopefully you're able to get great feedback on the beta read, my friend. Hopefully you got some excellent feedback. Very cool to hear. Hey, what's up, Emily? Welcome. LeMay, White's here, Emily. All great to see you, my friends. We're getting some work done. We're making some progress today. I feel it. I absolutely feel it. Hopefully you guys are able to get some work done as well today. I'm feeling pretty good about our writing mindset today. White's here, each scene in the story hits like a bomb. The setting is a banger, and even at 2 a.m., when I try to take a break and rest my eyes, I find myself staring at my computer screen for hours, turning page after page. Simply couldn't close my computer without knowing where the story was headed. Wow, White, it's awesome. I'm guessing that's feedback. That sounds like that's some feedback from your beta reader. That's excellent. that's excellent feedback, my friend. All right. Let me see how this paragraph sounds. He scanned the line of prisoners in both directions, picking them out at random. A turtle the size of us, a turtle the size of us, a golden spotted jaguar with eyes of fire, a long-necked, he said, pausing while squinting at the darkly spotted creature with a thin frame but twice their height. Giraffe, he snapped, proud of his recollection. They're met with the snore of a wide-eyed raccoon, coated in brown and white furry rings, who growled back angrily. Two primates looked in their direction, stomping at the ground. Scarecrow averted his eyes, expecting the worst and shuffling along silently. They soon trampled through tufts of graying knee-high grass. The stars made visibility in this place pretty easy to navigate. They soon trampled through tufts of graying knee-high grass. The stars made visibility in this place pretty easy to navigate. The stars made navigation here pretty easy. The stars navigated. The stars shone freely. The stars showed down on their path, lighting the way. The grass reminded him of his first conversation. Let's go to the starlight cascaded. The starlight cascaded across. The starlight cascaded across the temporary change in landscape. The grass reminded him of his first conversation with Pebble and Mr. Crow after the gardens. He hadn't seen either of them amongst the prisoners so far. The last time he had seen grass was with the others. It was with Pebble and Mr. Crow. He hadn't seen either of them amongst the prisoners so far. Maybe that escaped, or he gulped, wrapping his arms around himself, shivering. Tapping him on the shoulder, a tap on his shoulder broke him out of his reverie. A tap on his shoulder broke him out of his reverie. My thoughts are this, companion. The grizzly leaned in, whispering. If we had been recruited, he paused, amongst other animals or creatures such as yourself. He leaned in closer until Scarecrow could feel his meaty breath, and accounting for the Colosseum's proximity. Scarecrow turned around. The grizzly didn't look fearful, but more introspective. I surmise we'll fight to the death for the key sport. I surmise we'll be forced into combat. A tap on his shoulder broke him out of his reverie. My thoughts are this, companion. The grizzly leaned in. Gore, we'll go with Gore. Gore leaned in, whispering. Actually, let's fix this early. Gore leaned in. A tap on his shoulder broke him out of his reverie. Gore leaned in. My thoughts are this, companion. He glanced around warily. If we have been recruited, with a pause, amongst other animals or creatures such as yourself. He leaned in closer until Scarecrow could feel his meaty breath. And accounting for the Colosseum's proximity. Scarecrow turned around. The grizzly didn't look fearful, but more introspective. I don't think we need this last bit. And accounting for the Colosseum's proximity, I surmise we'll be forced into combat. Scarecrow stumbled, but Gore caught him. A nearby key stopped to hoot at them. As a prisoner near the front of the line took to the sky, a bird of large white and brown tipped majestic wings circled away. With a deafening screech of pain, it stopped descending and crashed. With a deafening screech of pain, it stopped descending and crashed. It stopped descending and plummeted to the ground with a crash. And plummeted to the ground with a crash. The entire procession paused as a key grabbed the bird's convulsing body by the neck and dangled it loosely before tossing it back into marching position. Before tossing it back into the line. Before tossing it back into the line of prisoners. Another diminished race, Gore whispered. The eagles were once thought gods of. Another diminished race, Gore whispered. The eagles were once thought gods of. Suddenly, cords of pain ripped through every inch of Scarecrow's body as he fell to the ground, reeling. It passed. Straw tightening, burning, dying, time, losing. It passed. Suddenly cords of pain, suddenly cords of burning pain. Suddenly, cords of burning pain ripped through every inch of Scarecrow's body as he fell to his knees. He fell to his knees, reeling. Straw tightening, burning, dying, time losing. It passed. He could only remain on a knee, trying to catch his breath. He gripped himself tightly, trying to regain, trying to catch his breath. Many other captives in their lines had similar reactions. Many other captives in their lines had similar reactions. The distant hoots of keys alerted them to keep moving. He looked back at Gore as they helped one another to their feet and trekked on. He looked back at Gore, who seemed distant. He looked back at Gore, who looked away, who seemed distant. He looked back at Gore, a distant expression. Marked his face. His white streaked face. He looked back at Gore. A distant expression marked his white streaked features. He looked back at Gore. A distant expression marked his marked his gaze. He looked back at Gore. A distant expression marked his gaze. The grizzly nodded. As they helped one another to their feet and trekked on. Scarecrow walked in silence. Far in the distance, the silhouette of a massive open-air dome rose. Let's see. Interesting. Scarecrow walked in silence. Far in the distance, the silhouette of a massive open-air dome rose. A white, unblemished beacon, standing vigilant within the barren landscape. It still seemed far off, though. He eyed the other prisoners and recognized a warthog near the front of the line, while that of a possum, pointed spikes and all, trailed not far behind. Other animals were more difficult to guess their species, but still no sight of his friends. It's a strange thing, Scarecrow wondered, why animals would treat others so cruelly. He peeked up and down the procession, but the closest keys were focused elsewhere. Why are these primates' keys so cruel? Apparently they've been underground for some time, only surfacing as of recent. Only surfacing as of recent, Gore added thoughtfully. Scarecrow Scarecrow thought back. Apparently, they've been underground for some time, only surfacing as of recent. Gore added thoughtfully. Scarecrow thought back. Just something about this just doesn't. It's like trying to decide if I like this part or not. Scarecrow called the caverns with all the homes and struck with the creators' homes where he had found the red beanie. Scarecrow called the caverns with all of the creators' homes where he had found the red beanie. Instinctively, he clutched his side. The beanie, the egg, the gemstone, and quilt were now gone. The beanie, the egg, the gemstone, and quilt. Gone. He sighed. And even met a key once, Gore barreled on. Strangest fellow, neither mean nor cruel. Funnily calculated. Funny and calculated. Clever and calculated. Clever or calculated. And the kindest backstabber I ever met. The look in the Grizzly's eyes resonated with childlike wonder, like the world was missing out on the joke. Gore, you mentioned such strange stories like you've seen it all. Stories are what dreams are made of, young friend. What's a dream? Hmm. 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 Gore, all right. I'm kind of just like thinking through this part and seeing if it works or not. Gore, you mentioned such strange stories, like you've seen it all. Hey, what's up, Emma? Hope everything is treating you well, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Gore, you mentioned such strange stories, like you've seen it all. Stories are what dreams are made of, young friend. What is a dream exactly? Gore stopped, drawing in the air. Gore stopped. The grizzly, let's go. The grizzly stopped. The grizzly froze. Hand in the air. No, let's see this grizzly. Let's just go. The grizzly skidded to a halt. What's a dream? He whispered. What's a dream? Voice elevated. I dream of mapping these lands to find it. You dream of, well, straw things, I'm sure. He leaned down, flicking the tail of the ember-scaled salamander crawling before them, whose head twisted and red eyes glared back with surprise. This mander dreams of scaly things, no doubt. Patting the animal on the head, Gore slid out of range nonchalantly as the reptile's jaws snapped shut. Scarecrow reached for the grizzly to calm him down, but Gore hopped onto a rock, shouting, "These prisoners may dream of freedom." A look of rage overtook his weathered face as the collar vibrated, yet he refused to back down. Gritting through his teeth, Gore roared. Or he roared. The keys dream of sport. His disheveled fur stood on edge, holding his ground, trembling. His disheveled fur stood on edge. Holding his ground, trembling through the pain. Trembling. Their leader of whimsy. Nearby animal prisoners came to a halt, watching. Growls of the jaguar and raccoon intermingled with the yelps of a hyena, and even the cobra's hiss rose amongst the onlookers. The Tiger King spits on your grave, hooted a bare-chested primate with a white white patched eye. Hooted a bare-chested primate with hooted the bare-chested primate wearing a scarecrow's coat. Scarecrow shuddered as four keys surrounded his friend. Surrounded Gore. one of them screeched. Galala. The black obsidian coloring of the collar, Gore's the black obsidian color of the collar around Gore's neck morphed into a deep shade of crimson. Scarecrow watched awestruck as Gore stood, sweat-drenched, body trembling from the ongoing pain. One of the primates neared the grizzly with a strange weapon pointing at his head, but another primate grabbed his forearm, nodding somewhere off in the distance. Pointing off in the distance. Scarecrow watched awestruck as Gore stood, sweat-drenched, body trembling from the ongoing pain. One of the keys nearby, neared the grizzly with a strange weapon pointed at his head, but another primate grabbed, another primate shoved the weapon away, pointing off in the distance. Scarecrow clutched his head, tensing up for the incoming bout of pain, sure to drop him. Let's go. It struck. Time lost meaning. In the blink of an eye, Scarecrow inhaled sweet, sweet air from the ground, unaware how much time had passed, but knowing from the heavy breathing of nearby animals that he wasn't alone. As his vision refocused, the grizzly dropped to a knee, shaking. Let's see, so... I don't think we need this right here. But Gore finally dropped to a knee, shaking. Bowing his head, he howled, "I submit." The keys hopped in circles. Clapping, hooting, and taunting, until the white triangle primate until they kicked the grizzly. The keys hopped in circles, clapping, hooting, and taunting, until they kicked him to the ground. Until they kicked Gore to the ground and shoved him back into line behind Scarecrow. Gore kept his head bowed as a quick jolt from the collar signaled it was time to move. Let's go here. Scarecrow clutched his head, tensing up for the incoming bout of pain, sure to drop him, but they kept on walking. But they marched on painlessly. It wasn't until they were on the move and the key had turned their attention away that Gore looked up with a weary wink. In between heavily controlled breaths, he uttered, "I asked before what you saw." The silence stretched out until Scarecrow responded, Other animals? Animals, yes. The grizzly's hardened gaze made him uncomfortable, but even as they marched, he couldn't look away. So, what are you, Scarecrow? What are you afraid of, friend Scarecrow? Being helpless. Scarecrow blurted out. He covered his mouth. No, sorry, that's not. And what have we learned? Without breaking eye contact, Gore waited. Scarecrow tried to gulp away his embarrassment with a better answer. All of these animals, the other prisoners, they feel pain. Maybe we can work together. Gore snorted, surprised, accompanied by a low chuckle. The jag up there would eat you for breakfast, and that rabbit fellow back there keeps eyeing you like food. Scarecrow glanced down the line at the crazed. Scarecrow glanced down the line at Conball, whose color-changing eyes shifted between orange and yellow. Even though he was looking away, his gaze felt intimidating. You know that word the monkey shouted. Gore pawed Scarecrow's mouth gently with a shake of his head. That single word strengthened the caller's pain threshold. I knew it. I knew it, Scarecrow exclaimed excitedly. He leaned in, whispering, how were you able to withstand such... He gulped. Pain. The grizzly glanced at the dipping moon off the horizon, as his normal timbre lowered to a deadly throw. Pain is illusion's fool. Scarecrow thought back to the entire incident, realizing that the grizzly had put more on the line than anything else. Eyes wide, he raised it. Scarecrow thought back to the entire incident, realizing that the grizzly had stepped out of line as a test. Had stepped out of line to withstand the pain as a test. Eyes wide, he raised a finger. Have you heard of this Tiger King? Have you heard of this Tiger King? Gore spat and growled, turning back to face him. At least the Wolf King could have been reasoned with. He sighed. Strength or death for you. He sighed. Strength or death for you. For us, most likely. Scarecrow gulped. Gore pulled him in by the chest, glaring. My debt you will stretch. But this grizzly is my life debt you will stretch. My debt you will stretch. But this grizzly's promise remains steadfast. A debt of muck will you break. Scarecrow shuddered as Dr. Fox's warning bounced inside his head. Was this what he meant? Somewhere deep down, he heard Cloth's scream within the flames. Somewhere deep down, he heard Cloth's scream. He heard Cloth screaming. Feet forward, partner. We're here. The last bit of that actually went pretty smoothly. So consumed by their dialogue, Scarecrow failed to spot the giant colossus looming overhead, like a grim beacon. The giant Colosseum. So consumed by their dialogue, Scarecrow failed to spot the giant Colosseum looming overhead, like a grim beacon in the moonlight. Metal, wood, and granite pillars tiered the upper levels of the mighty behemoth, offering obligatory glimpses into the shadows of ghosts' pasts. Pointed stakes of varying lengths adorned the monster like a protective shell against the barren wasteland. Even lights refracted against the near open-air roofing, giving off an unnerving glow. A series of whoops and hoots bounced around the darkness of the night as 4 of the keys emerged from behind an archway. A series of whoops and hoots echoed from within. Echoed from within as 4 keys emerged from behind an archway. After witnessing a half-deciphered mix of sounds and acrobatics. They greeted. I gotta fix this. They greeted the. They greeted their. They greeted the keys of their procession. With a mix of sounds and with a mix of strange sounds, strangely worded sounds, and acrobatics. Before the prisoners were forced to keep before the prisoners kept marching. Were forced to keep marching. A series of whoops and hoots echoed from within as 4 keys emerged from behind an archway. A series of whoops and hoots echoed from within as 4 keys, clad in similar metals, emerged from behind an archway. They greeted the keys of their procession with a mix of strangely worded sounds and acrobatics. Before the prisoners were forced to keep marching on. Sparse lights and yellow eyes greeted them from amidst. As they approached the archway leading into a tunnel. As they approached the archway leading into a tunnel, sparse lights and yellow eyes greeted them from amidst the darkness ahead. Scarecrow glanced back at the wasteland as the first light crested over a distant horizon and through the graying leaves of a single stalwart tree they had passed. Scarecrow glanced back at the wasteland as the first light crested over a distant horizon and through the graying leaves of a single stalwart tree they had passed. How did he miss such an oddity in this wasteland? It swayed back and forth in the breeze as hopelessly as he felt. He seemed to miss a lot of things. Was he the problem? Hopefully his friends had fared better. Sighing, he turned around as a tiny golden snout stuck out of the tree's canopy. Was he the problem? Hopefully his friends had fared better. Sighing, he turned around as a tiny golden snout stuck out of the tree's canopy. All right, and that is the Scarecrow portion of this chapter. Oh man, let's see. I think I want to say we do a couple more then. I don't even think that's. I think that might be the halfway mark for the chapter. Let's see. Yeah, that's the halfway mark. The first half of the chapter is Scarecrow. Okay. Yeah, this is just where the chapters start getting really long, I can tell. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of just looking at the chapter and I'm thinking about the next the next beats that are coming up. Yeah, because we have the beat with Pebble and the Dragonkin, and then we have the beat with Crow and the Skunk and the Otter group. Yeah, it's interesting. This Coliseum, this is the very first chapter in the book. Actually, it's a chapter, 23? This is the very first chapter in the book that has all three POVs, all three POV characters in one chapter, or that switches to all three POVs in one chapter. It's kind of interesting. Um, I I think I do it sporadically throughout the rest of this arc. But I think the next chapter is where the pace starts to pick up before it starts getting really intense. God. Yeah, like I almost feel I almost feel like the pacing of this section needs to be picked up a little bit. Yeah, so you see what I'm doing is I'm kind of just looking through this part of the chapter that I just worked on the first 10 pages, and I'm kind of asking myself like, does this first half need to be shortened to improve the pacing of the book? I'm kind of going back and forth in my head. Even as I think that first half of the chapter has a little bit of a slower pacing. Yeah. Yeah, because I want to say we're doing setup. So next chapter we can introduce the antagonist. God, and then we finally get into the first Colosseum fight. Oh man. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Interesting. Oh man, this part of the story is so crazy. This part of the story is so crazy. But I'm thinking of the pacing of the past couple chapters and just kind of how it feels as I'm reading them back to back. Um, this story arc really starts in chapter 20, when Scarecrow is first captured. Chapter 20 feels like the pacing is really well done. Chapter 21 with Pebble, the pacing is well done. Chapter 22, it's not the pacing that feels off. It's kind of the POV because it's Crow's POV. That it could definitely be edited for sure. But chapter 23, it so far that first half of the chapter kind of drags on a little bit. I feel like I need to cut it down and get them to the Colosseum a little sooner. I feel like they kind of do. I think Scarecrow and Gore kind of do a little extra talking than is necessary. Gore does make a stand, I think, which is important. Um, yeah, I got to think about it. Hey, what's up, guys? The curses of drafts. There's always another one, and another one shall always follow. Yeah, especially if you keep going through the drafting process. I'm in the third draft. I think for my process, I generally tend to have a 5 draft process. I'm currently in the third draft. I believe the third draft is my last. I kind of treat it as a live reading and a line edit. And this is the last one I'll do before I send it off to feedback for beta readers and editors. So, and then after I get it back from the beta readers and the editor, then I take it through a 4th draft, fix all the problems that they pointed out, either approve the edits or deny the edits based on my vision for the story. And then after the 4th draft, really then the manuscript should be ready for a final proofread. So, oh man, but definitely making some excellent progress. I'm wow, 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 wow. Yeah, I was even as I went through that first part, hey, what's up, Sajist? Yeah, so I was just kind of going through this that first half. I just finished the first half of that chapter, or I just finished the revision for the first half of that chapter. And I had gone through it, and it kind of felt like the pacing was a little hit or miss that time. So I think I might need to cut down that first half just a little bit, probably by a page or two. And I'm just trying to think of where it needs to be cut, but yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of just making like some decisions. So I just went through the first half of that chapter, and I'm just trying to. It's kind of like I'm pondering. I'm like, I think I need to cut it down by about a page or two, and I'm trying to think of like what the best part of it is. So that way this part of the book doesn't feel like it drags too much, because the pacing of this arc has been pretty good. The pacing of the last chapter was fine. The pacing of the last couple of chapters have been fine. No, next chapter we're introduced to the antagonist, and the pacing picks up again. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, something that I try to do differently, Suggest, is I show all my writing on screen, and then I try to show writers what my process is. And I'm basically doing it live. I'm basically been writing a book live for the past 740 consecutive writing streams. So yeah, I do it every day. You're always welcome to come join. Of course, anyone new here in the community, tap that subscribe button. I stream every day, and the WriteNow community is really designed to help writers with getting through their books and kind of coming together as a writing community. So we have some fun stuff. Let's see, today's Thursday, which means tomorrow will be another writing sprint stream. And then Saturday is the story and critique stream. So that's one of our most popular live streams, where basically I will do free readings. And it's basically a free live reading and a free critique, similar to an alpha beta reading live. So if you're wanting feedback for your stories at all, submit now. The link for the stream is down in the YouTube description, but that's on Saturday at 1 Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's generally one of our more popular streams. So come join us. And yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I really want to keep working on it, kind of going back and forth on this chapter, on how I can fix it. I think I'm gonna have to. I think tomorrow or later today, if I work again, I think I'm gonna probably have to go back through this chapter from the start again. It just has to be tightened. It really does have to be tightened. And I'm trying to figure out where it needs to be tightened, so we'll see. Awesome. Well, I appreciate all y'all for joining. Thanks so much. Like I said, I'll be back for another writing session, probably around the same time tomorrow. So we'll see what we see. Hopefully I can get through this chapter tomorrow. I definitely got to make a little bit more of a longer, I definitely want to make a little bit more of a longer push for this one. Yeah. So. Yeah, at the rate I'm going, then that means the first half of the book will be ready for the feedback loop, probably by the end of the month. We'll probably take an extra week to get through this, finish reviewing, because I just forgot how long these chapters were. I mean, it's good, like they're good long. They are the right length for at this point in the book, but they're just long. God. Hey, you know what? Anytime you need some motivation, my friend, we got you. We got writers of all styles and backgrounds in the WriteNow community. So yeah, if you're ever needing motivation, we definitely have a pretty cool community of all writers of all skill levels too. So, and I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, we're all in the writing process together. We're all trying to finish our books. So what I've learned over this past couple of years is that doing it with the writing community helps us stay motivated. Motivated, consistent, especially when we're struggling to write or when we're dealing with life. So, but glad to have you here, my friend. Definitely welcome. Glad to have you. And I think that's all that I got for you today, my writers. So if you enjoyed the stream today, tap that like button. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining. If you want to keep hanging out, you can go start a co-working session in the Discord, link down in the YouTube description. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. Words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write
now.
Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but but right now. Read now, right now. Is that right?